During the marriage, you likely accumulated joint debts. Yes. And figuring out who's responsible for what can be tricky. It's actually not. It's important to address these debts fairly and understand how they will affect your financial situation after the divorce. Take your time to assess your debts and come up with a plan for dividing them. Just like the assets, you also have to address the debts, and this is also part of the settlement agreement we'll put together. Keep in mind, you don't have to address them separately. It's not, here's the assets, and then now let's address the debts. You guys may want to look at, hey, you have more in your 401k, so you take a little bit more of the community debt, and that'll offset that, as opposed to addressing it asset to asset. If you have more assets, take more debts. If you make more income instead of spouse support, you can say, hey, I'll take more of the debt. So there's ways to figure this out aside from going line item by line item. Look at everything in its totality, the assets and debts, alimony, child support, the whole thing, and see what you guys can move around like chess pieces and figure out, as opposed to going, first, let's do spouse support. Okay, here's what we agree on. Here's child support. Let's agree. Now let's address the assets. Now the debts. Look at it as like what they call a global settlement. Look at put everything on the table at once and see how you can move those pieces around to make it make sense for you guys. One of the things they said here is it's tricky to figure out who's responsible for them. Not necessarily. You have the community property laws in California. Everything that you guys acquired during the marriage is considered community or joint, regardless of whose name it's in, regardless of who acquired it. If it's your name or both names, or it doesn't matter. In most cases, there's some loopholes, obviously, inheritance and things like that. But for the most part, it's going to be community property unless you had it before the marriage, things like that.